Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Tom Stewart here. I'm with Liz Trotter and our very special guest today, Debbie Sardone. This is Smart Business Moves.
Hey, Debbie, thanks so much for coming on. Seriously.
Thank you. It was a smart move for me to say yes.
Aw.
And for us to ask.
We're all so smart in this room.
Yeah.
You know what they say about that. If
Yeah.
you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. So
No, I don't have to worry
I know
about
I'm
that.
in the right. I was going to say, I know I'm in the right room because I'm in the room with the smart ones.
Some days you still feel smarter than others, and for me, this hasn't been one of those days. So maybe we can turn it around.
Most days
You're the bug.
I just spend most days I just try really hard not to keep doing dumb stuff.
So I think I've told Tom this before, but one time I was talking to my grandma, who at the time was 86, and I had had a really bad day. And she was like, honey, I thought that by the time I hit my 80s, I would be done with dumb stuff too. And I don't think it happens. You're just going to have to get good with it. I'm like, oh, thanks, Grandma.
Exactly.
All right, awesome.
No encouragement there.
Yeah. All right. So Tom, I made you stop talking about something so we could go live. What was it?
We were talking about all the crises in
I
business.
forgot. I don't know. Must not have been important.
Yeah. The feast, the famine.
We were talking about, all the unprecedented events and some of the challenges that we've been facing over the last year, and how hard it is to hire people. I guess is kind of the paradigm for a lot of us, and for some of us who've been cleaning homes for a while, this isn't the first time it's been a tight labor market. So you just have to roll your sleeves up and work harder and do the smart things to deal with it. But we're also talking.
You know what's different though? There is one thing that's different. In the past, we didn't really have a good scapegoat, and now we do. Now we're like, let's blame unemployment. Let's blame the government. So we're like, so we can let ourselves off the hook. We can be like, it's not us, not my fault.
It's not my fault.
Yeah.
It's them.
I have a short video to share, though, that I think fits in with this. You guys good with that?
Yeah. I love it.
Set this up. Yeah, this was a part of a speech that President Biden gave last Thursday.
People ready for relief. I got $1.9 relief so far. They're going to be getting checks in the mail that are consequential this week for childcare. And I'm not being critical, y'all. I really mean this. Legitimate questions are asking me, well, guess what? Employers can't find workers. I said, yeah, pay them more. This is an employee organization. What's happening? They're going to have to compete and start paying hard-working people a decent wage.
Great point. Pay them more.
Okay.
Great point. It's what we've been screaming for the last 20 years. If it's called supply and demand, you raise your customer prices and you pay your workers more. And you keep doing that till your business works.
But the president wasn't screaming. He was whispering.
Whispering.
Yeah, he should have screamed it. I've been screaming it. I know you two have been screaming it.
But you know what? I was listening harder because he was whispering.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it's going to work, right?
But, he's actually admitting something that we've been talking about for a while. It's brilliant. Give businesses a ton of money with PPP and idle loans and all of that, and then pay people not to work. So then we've got money to pay them more to entice them to work. And when you're done, everybody's wages are higher.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
I've always said the government doesn't set minimum wage. And if you think they do, you're in trouble. The market tells you what minimum wage is. And in our industry, it's hard work. If you think you're just going to pay a little bit above minimum wage, good luck with finding anybody to come work for you. The government doesn't set minimum wage. The market does. And I know none of us here have been able to succeed in business without paying people double and sometimes triple, depending on the market they're in, minimum wage.
Mm-hmm.
Pay them more.
So
and
I
charge
have
more.
to say, I have had a time in my business where I did not pay a lot of money. I was one of the lowest paying cleaning companies in the area, but I did a lot more and I put a lot of time and energy and other things in. There were a lot of resources still being spent. It just wasn't as much money. And bottom line is, it's easier to spend money, y'all. It is. It's just easier.
You weren't the highest paying, but you were highest on the fun scale.
We were, and maybe not even so much fun as we just had the most benefits of anybody else in the area. So maybe the actual cash layout was not as high, but the benefits were much higher. But cash is easier.
Cash is king. Cash is what motivates people.
Mm-hmm.
People do like cash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like me some cold hard cash. I got myself a cup full of fake $100 bills right here.
All right.
What if?
And it's a funny thing about cash. There is rarely a time or a person that says, you know what, I've got enough cash now. That's not something that the people that come to work for us are. I've never heard it from anybody like, yeah, you know what, I don't really need to make any more money. I'm good.
No,
that doesn't happen.
Our new COO, asked the other day, our team hit one of the largest milestones we've been trying to hit for many, many years. And our team hit it. And he said to me, I'm thinking about doing a really nice activity with them to thank them, or I'm going to offer them cash. And I said, well, if you want to have an activity for team building, then you need to, that's the reward, the party. Because if you offer them cash, I don't care what it is, they're going to say, I'll go with the cash. Yeah. So if you want to do a team building exercise, that's fine. That's your call. Don't mention the cash was an option, because the minute you give them both options, they will go with the cash. And he said, well, I don't really care which one they pick. So I was in the meeting when he offered them, and every one of them said, we'll take the cash.
Yeah.
Everybody always picks cash, but you do have to remember that, you know, if you listen to any of the experts, even though we think we want the cash, later, we remember the experience. So,
right. And I'm a believer, don't do either or. I told him we need to plan an office team building event, like one of those axe throwing things around our goals and hitting the goal. And it's like, we need to do that anyway, not instead of, but they're going for the cash.
Yeah, because 5 years from now, they'll be talking about the axe throwing, where 3 weeks from now, they'll forget about the cash.
Cash will already be spent on their light bill.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but Debbie, you've always been really good at doing both. And so
I'm not going to say always. We've gotten better, and we've had our highs and lows where we really nail it and then we slack off. But we have a decent system in place to try to continually give them that team culture, the team building experiences, but also make sure they got good, cold, hard cash in their hand at our meetings, right? Perfect attendance is cash.
Well, and we have talked a lot about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And until you meet that lower level and make sure that people have enough money.
Yeah.
Really.
If they can't pay their rent, they don't care about your stupid pizza party. Yeah. Right. But if they love their paycheck and you give them pizza on a Thursday, they feel like this company is amazing.
Yeah. It's the best.
Yeah.
But the perception of what enough cash is, I think the expectation has gone up over the last year.
Oh,
yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. And it's supply and demand. As the job market tightens, they know there are more and more jobs out there paying better than they were. We had better be highly competitive, not just a little bit better, highly competitive, or they're going to pass. This work is hard. Put your hand in somebody else's toilet for what? It better be compelling, or they're not going to stay.
And so many people right now are looking for employees and pushing so much harder that everybody is willing to pay more.
Yep.
There's so much more competition for the employees right now. So you got to be on it.
Raise your prices.
Yeah.
See, that's what people forget. These two things go hand in hand. So the owner panics. They're like, oh no, I got to pay more. I'm barely making a profit as it is. I don't pay myself anything. It's like, no, it takes both. When you raise the pay, you have to raise your prices. I have CBF members that are reporting they're collecting $60 and $70 per billable hour, and not in California. We've seen that for years in California. So, my company is charging more by the labor hour than we've ever been able to get away with before. So that's supply and demand. Remember, you got to do both. You have to raise your prices and raise your pay, and they do go hand in hand.
And, we're going to be talking about marketing today, which I'm really glad about, because another thing along the same lines that I think people kind of a little bit forget, kind of drop the ball on, or they're afraid, is that marketing and hiring go hand in hand. You don't do one or the other. You do both at the same time, and each one pushes the other. So that's how you grow.
Excellent. Excellent point.
At the very least, the recruiting. You always want to be recruiting, and you always want to be marketing, even when you think that you don't have to. Because as soon as you stop, you lose the momentum, and then you're chasing it.
Right. Somebody quits. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Exactly. That's a great point. They go hand in hand. They go together. And just like marketing does not work when you stop and start, doesn't work well. It's the same thing with always recruiting. I need to always be recruiting, always marketing. If I do them hand in hand, I will create less of my own feast or famine. Yeah. And right now, I know we're talking about marketing today. People have felt that cleaning business boom hit us this spring.
Yeah.
But like we were talking about earlier, it is slowing down. It always slows down in the summer. Mm-hmm. And, it's time to get back at marketing if you let it slide because you were trying to service the demand.
And in some regards, we've gone through a year plus of unprecedented events. So some of the rules have changed. And in the spirit of, following with how to react to the unprecedented events. And this is the last day of marketing month. And this is awesome that Debbie has a presentation she's going to share with us, kind of walking through, some thoughts on how to market in the new post-COVID world.
Yay.
I am so grateful you both asked me to participate today because, I love marketing. I love helping businesses grow. And there are new rules of marketing. And if we don't acknowledge that and we go back to our same old ways, we're going to miss out on the opportunity to scoop up the additional business that might go to your competitors or will go to no one. And so, yes, our company and most companies around the country have reported this cleaning business economic boom, but we are coming off of a pandemic, right? All the restaurants are booming because all that pent up business is now kind of coming out. A lot of the Airbnbs are booming. The vacations are booming because people are finally able to do something they've been holding off on. So some of this cleaning business economic boom is probably that pent up demand that people waited months or a whole year to have their house cleaned, and now we're seeing a flood of it. And we were talking earlier about how we've all been in business so long. We've seen the crises, we've seen the extreme highs and lows, the economic downturns, the stock market crashes. I mean, we've seen it all, right? The 9/11, the unbelievable economy that we've all been through. And here's what I've learned, and I know you guys have learned the same thing. Our biggest breakthroughs come from the greatest challenges. Oh, yeah. My biggest breakthroughs came during my greatest challenges. They almost never came through my easy times when I was coasting and floating. Our greatest obstacles are also our greatest opportunity. And I see coming off the pandemic where many business owners were closed, They were shut down. I know my own business didn't close, but we lost 38% of our revenue over a 2-month period. We went backwards after hitting goals in 2019. At the end of 2019, we had never hit before. And I know so many people suffered, but coming off of that, we've also experienced our greatest levels of growth I have ever seen in this industry. This is not the time to give up. This is the time to scoop up, right? This is the time to make bank.
Consumers have a ton of money in terms of just the amount of money that's in people's bank accounts right now because of, all the checks and benefits. And, you heard the president whispering about more money's floating out there. And that entices some people to stay out of the workforce, but there's a lot of people in the workforce and they're taking that extra money and just like putting it in their pocket, putting it in their bank. They can't find things to spend it on because they can't get containers over here. There's shortages of a lot of stuff that people really want to buy. Yeah.
People stopped buying cars. People stopped spending $10,000 on a family vacation to Disney World or a cruise, right? All that money is still in their bank account. Most people worked through the pandemic. So, this is our greatest opportunity. It was our greatest challenge, definitely the biggest challenge of my career. Out of all the things I've been through, this was the greatest challenge. Yes, there were times I think many of us wondered, oh my goodness, am I going to lose my business? Is it going to keep going down? How long is this going to last? Luckily in Texas, it kind of opened up relatively quickly and we were able to pivot. But, what goes up must come down, right? So as we've been experiencing this big, gigantic surge, some are already seeing things slow down. So the new rules of marketing really do apply in a post-pandemic world. And I think it'll be a long time, if ever, that we just go back to the way things were in exact way. So I wrote down 4 things that I wanted to share with you that I've observed and that we've been teaching. I'm sure there are other things, but 4 things that really stood out to me around the new rules of marketing.
You want to jump into your deck?
First, oh yes. If you have it, you can pull it up. And rule number 1.
Yep.
Are you sharing it? Okay, messaging. The message has shifted. I mean, look at commercials and you'll see the shift in messaging. The message has shifted, period. Do not be late to the shift. I know years ago, I was late to the shift on many changes that took place after 9/11. It took me years to shift because I kept thinking the old way would return, or I just didn't know to shift. So I think the messaging has shifted, and I hope everybody takes notes today because you can look at your marketing, and if you hire professionals to do your marketing, do not be surprised that they don't think the same way we do. So you may have to help them shift. But the message has shifted from you deserve it, Rich. Most of us have been promoting that concept in our marketing for years. You work hard all week. You deserve your weekends off, right? The message has shifted from you deserve it to you need it now more than ever, right? A clean home is now a necessity, not a luxury. The message has shifted from luxury of living better and a better life, which we've all been promoting, including Walmart, right? Walmart's signature campaign that shifted about 20 years ago. And I remember I watched the shift. They shifted from, remember the happy faces that would bounce on the TV, the rollback, right? Yeah. They would roll back on prices. And back then their campaign was all about prices, cheaper prices, cheaper prices. Somebody got a hold of them and said, that's not what your customers are looking for. Your customers want to live better, right? And Walmart pivoted their messaging and became, if you shop at Walmart, you can live better, right? Because you can afford to live better. You can afford to drive a nicer car or wear nicer clothes or go on vacation. So the same thing is, I believe it has shifted away from just the luxury message of living better and having it all to living safer and being safe. That is the core message throughout all marketing that you see. And it doesn't matter if it's selling lollipops or tennis shoes, right? They're talking about being safe, right? My old messaging of weekends weren't made for housework. I'm not saying it's a bad message. I'm saying it's been replaced with, we'll keep your home clean and healthy.
So,
right? I mean, people are looking for.
Obviously, COVID was an awful thing, and a lot of people died and gotten sick, and it's still out there. And there's a lot of thought that, the new, variants, the Delta virus is going to get worse in the fall. And, nobody knows when this is going to end. But what you're suggesting, I've often thought, and I almost feel bad suggesting this, but from a cleaning business standpoint, could COVID be one of the better things that's ever happened to us from a business standpoint? It sucked last year when we were trying to figure stuff out, but where we are right now, we're going to look back on this. It's going to be a good thing, right?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, that's what being in business is all about, is riding the different waves. We don't know what the waves are. They're always coming.
Yeah.
But when you are cutting edge and when you are far and above your competition, you ride every wave. And sadly, COVID launched the perception of home cleaning into necessity and away from luxury. And whether you agree with it or not is not relevant. All that matters is the perception, and the reality is this is essential. It is a part of public safety and public health. Cleaning is a part of the solution. And if we don't ride that message, we're going to be marketing to an audience that's deaf, that's like, they're not going to respond. And so we have to pivot to that message. For years, all the cleaning companies that started, they wanted to be green. Oh, I'm going to be green. This is my new marketing shtick, right? I'm going to be green. Well, oddly enough, people are more concerned about their own health than the planet right now. I'm not saying it won't shift in the future. And I'm not saying people don't still value green and non-toxic products, but the shift is keep my house healthy. I don't care how it affects the planet, to a minimal degree. And obviously that's a little bit of extreme, but it's less about free time and carefree living. It's more about healthy living in a safe, sanitary space.
Steve Hansen, dropped a message in chat, just kind of reiterating that point that, it's gone from appearance to cleaning is about health. We've been talking about that for years as well, but thanks to COVID, everybody understands that now.
Exactly. And here's why I think this is creating our cleaning business boom. Thanks to COVID, just like what Steve said, before it's discretionary income to make your house look pretty and smell pretty, right? But now it's, oh no, I need this. I might have somebody in my family that's system is compromised, or I work and play and school my children here all day. I got to have a clean house. It has shifted in the mind of the consumer that this is not just a luxury anymore. Hey, honey, we need this. We're calling Castle Keepers or, Buckets and Bows. We need this. It's not so much I deserve this, even though there's always going to be a little bit of both. Yeah. And what we told our employees all during this pandemic, because our employees were amazing. They were courageous. They showed up. And of course, we pivoted like buffaloes, like many of you did, with getting all the PPE and the gloves and the sanitizing products. And, we were lucky. We already had the solo model. So we had the built-in social distancing, which we leveraged against our competitors. I mean, it was like the perfect storm for my model. And we constantly elevated our employees and bragged on them. That doesn't it feel good to be an essential worker, right? Because, you saw a lot during the pandemic of people, applauding essential workers. And we really wanted our employees to feel important and special, remind them that you are making a difference. Those of you who want to be here, those of you who cannot be here, we understand you do have a job when this blows over. But, we bought all of them shirts that said, yep, I'm essential. And they loved them and they wore them to work. And, it just, the whole thing shifted around cleaning. And I think more people will use a cleaning service and more people will use a professional cleaning service and will maybe think twice about the underground cleaners for half the price, simply because they value the healthy aspect and the safety aspect of cleaning more than just make my pillows pretty, vacuum my floors with lines, and make my house smell clean. It's gone beyond that now.
And there's one more point that we keep kind of skirting around is that, we're talking about our individual businesses and how this is great for us, et cetera. But this goes way beyond that. This is an industry-wide phenomenon for us now. Yeah, it's an unprecedented event, but it's going to turn into a lot more than just an event. This is changing our entire industry, and what we'll be doing is going to be different in 5 years from right now. We don't even really know exactly where it's going, as much as we might think we do.
Well, crises makes you better, or it makes you worse and you give up and you quit. But for those that stick it out during the tough times, it makes you better. So now people are valuing certifications. They are valuing joining ISSA and getting certified with HCT and learning the proper way to use disinfectants instead of not caring. So it's really up-leveled all of us as a professional industry. And it also creates a bigger divide between the underground cleaner that's just winging it for half price and the highly professional, highly trained service that charges double, but it's worth it. It is creating a bigger divide in terms of the perception of why there is such a difference in price.
Yeah.
Which is all good for us.
And we don't have to fight as hard. We don't have to justify our prices nearly as much. That it's people already know why the prices are more. It's like, oh, well, this is a professional company. Oh, I get it. I could trust these people. They know how to clean. They know what clean is, not just making things pretty.
And that brings safe.
That brings me to point number 2, is the images that we create around the new rules of marketing. The images that we create. So how do we look these days, right? I do think there is a bigger divide between somebody who looks very unprofessional and unkempt and a dirty t-shirt versus a very well-groomed, professional-looking, uniformed, trained employee with a badge or some pins. Like we do pins on our employees' badges. Our employees all carry a badge or they wear a badge, and they have all these pins that signify years of service and all these things. What's the image we're projecting that makes people feel safe, that makes them feel like, ooh, I wouldn't dream of working with an underground cleaner? From our uniforms, from the way we present ourselves, even to the size of our teams, to the cleanliness of our equipment, all of these things scream safety, professional, worth it, versus same old, just winging it and cheap, right? So what are those images? Have you put those images on your website, the certifications that you took during the pandemic, HCT or GABC, that you are a member of the Worldwide Cleaning Association, obviously those who are members of Cleaning for a Reason? All those images and certifications, they're more important. Use them in your social media. Put them out there. Make sure it's in your emails, it's on your website, it's on your Facebook page, and make sure customers are seeing it, not just hearing it, not just feeling it. They're seeing the images of the new rules of marketing.
Another point of that is, in the past, we always wanted to put all of this stuff on our websites because it made us feel good. Now you have to put it there because it's making the customer feel good, which is different.
Exactly.
Just another shift there. And it needs to happen because the customers need it. I like that you keep going back to the word need, Debbie. In the past, it was always, they wanted cleaning. It was a luxury. It was something they hoped for, wanted. But now
you deserve it.
Yes, all of the sweet, soft things. But now people feel like, I need this. And if I can't pay someone else to do it, I have to find a way to do it myself. So I really need it.
I have to put this in my budget.
Yeah, it has.
And I have to hire a professional service. Right. I need them to be pros, not somebody who doesn't know what they're doing, who isn't careful and might bring germs into my home instead of take germs out. So all these perceptions are absolutely vital. And if we don't pivot with them, one of the things I said last year when the whole pandemic broke out the very last day of my conference here in Dallas. We were the last live event at this particular hotel that canceled for a year. And the thing I said on the last day of the conference is you can go back and you can speak from a position of fear or a position of confidence and study and learn as we all figured this whole thing out. And I said, what your customers and your prospects need to hear is, with confidence and a true belief, is now more than ever, you need us. And if you can send that message, you will calm your customers down, and you'll find a way to pivot in this pandemic. And many cleaning companies did. They didn't, go out of business, and some went out forever.
So from an image standpoint, you got an example here in your deck of something that ServiceMaster did, but there's certifications out there. There's the HCT that's done through IICRC. RXC's got their PHC Professional House Cleaning Certification Program. Does that kind of fit into this thinking?
Definitely. Yeah, I just grabbed an image off the internet, but absolutely all of those images now are important. Whereas before, like Liz said, we kind of did it for us. Look at me, my business is professional. But now customers actually pay attention, and we need to be proactive with those images instead of them just living on our website. And we're not talking about them. Point number 3 is sales process. In the sales process, where we used to talk about, check out our online reviews. We are the highest maid service. We're the highest rated maid service on Google, right? We used to talk about our quality. Now, during our sales process, we need to bring things up like that. Like, we are a member of the Worldwide Cleaning Association, ISSA. We received the HCT certification during the pandemic so that we could pivot and, use proper disinfection tools and procedures, right? So this needs to become a part of our sales language, not just living inactively on our website. Let's insert it in the sales process that we're certified, we're trained, we use disinfectants in your home, we use gloves for your protection, we sanitize our equipment between jobs. Anything you are doing, don't keep it your best kept secret because you pivoted during the pandemic. It's like, you're not telling people, tell them what your practices are. I'm not saying make up things. If you don't have any new practices, then don't say it. But if you've implemented new practices, and I think all of us have, and I know my company has, tell them, make that a part of your new sales process. If you're not careful, you won't even think to do it. And your sales process will look like it did 2 years ago. How many square feet, how many pets, how many people, how many bathrooms? Let me tell you about our deluxe cleaning. Instead of shifting to saying, in my case, for your protection as well as our employees, we send one person clean your home, blah, blah, blah. They have disinfectants, just pivot your sales process.
Mm-hmm.
I really like what you said too, Debbie, that for everybody, sorry, Tom, I think I might've cut you off. Did I cut you off?
Go ahead. You're good.
One thing that I really liked is, if you're doing the same thing that you were doing 2 years ago, you're off target. You're missing sales. You are losing out because this is a new environment. And so you have to be doing things in the new way, which, again, to this marketing.
Because your competition isn't. They haven't shifted their language.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Tom. I know it's hard to get.
There's a couple of things that we're doing here. One is you want to get the sale, right? Because we all measure how many leads we get and quotes and conversions. But starting off, it's like, we're going to have to pay more. So we're going to have to charge more. And what Debbie's describing here gives us an opportunity to offer a premium service. So when you give them that quote that's higher than the competitors, it's going to be easier to understand. It's like, yeah, but these are professional house cleaners. They're trained, they're certified, they've got all the proper safety equipment. It's like, yeah, I'll pay more for that. My God, I don't want anybody coming to my house that doesn't have those things.
Exactly. And most cleaning companies have made these changes, but we haven't incorporated it into our sales messaging. We're talking the same way we've done in the past. You deserve it. Why don't you give us a try? Mm-hmm. Feel, felt, found, right? But we also need to insert, we've taken every precaution possible to keep you, your family, and our employees safe. Let me tell you what we're doing. Now, they're not going to hear that from the competition who's less. expensive. And they're going to remember safe, cheaper. Before it was, better reviews, cheaper, so it definitely makes a difference.
And in the past, we also always talked about, we would say, if somebody complained about price, we would say something having to do with our quality. Well, if the price is more important to you than quality, then absolutely, you're probably going to be happier going with such and such company. And that argument was okay, but it's a much better argument that if you're more concerned about price than about safety, then absolutely, I would go ahead and go with the other company.
And the safety
Yeah,
of
it
your
changes the
children
dynamic.
and pets.
Yes.
What type of mother are you?
Exactly. Choosy mothers choose Jif, right? Are you a choosy mother? Right? And families who really care about their kids used to buy a Volvo back in the 90s, right? Because it was the safest car on the road. And so when it's just between luxury and cheaper, people can go with cheaper. But when it's between safety and cheaper, people are going to pick safe. And right now, they are more concerned about safety than they were 2 years ago. It is what it is.
And there's a guilt in there now where there wasn't the guilt. If you don't do it now, you're like, uh-oh, if you go for price, it doesn't feel as good. Where in the past, if you went for price, it's like, I'm getting a deal, yay me.
It's like score.
Right.
Score.
Now it's not a win.
Yeah.
And another dimension of the sales process that we've drilled on with some success is just talking about what we're doing for our team members, for our cleaning professionals. That we're in a world where things have changed, and we need to be more flexible with our scheduling. We have to pay better. We have to offer more benefits, and the consumers have been hearing that, and they're nodding their heads saying, yeah, that all makes sense. And somehow they're feeling better by paying us more, knowing that that money is helping to do the responsible thing, what they call it, ESG, environment, social, and governance. That's the kind of the big thing in the corporate world. And everybody wants to make sure that people they're doing business with are sensitive to ESG issues. And you can sell on that point as well.
Exactly. People want a peace of mind, and especially with this past year and a half, right? People haven't had a peace of mind. They've been fearful. They've been uncomfortable. They've been cooped up. People are looking for a peace of mind more than a discount. And if we can give them a peace of mind, that brings me to the fourth point, which is our delivery system, right? So it's all talk, it's all marketing, it's all messaging, it's images, it's the sales process. But when you go out there and those employees roll up their sleeves and start cleaning, that's still all a part of the marketing process. We better deliver on the images that we've created and the promises that we've made to keep that customer feeling safe. And I realize it is individual for each company. I know for myself, for us, it was a very easy thing for us to say, we have built-in social distancing in our company. And a lot of cleaning companies across the country are selling off cars and dropping from teams of 3 to teams of 1 on maintenance cleans just to be able to compete in this, we are a social distancing world. Now, I think that's going to begin to go away very soon. It's almost gone here completely in Texas. But whatever it is you do when you deliver the service, you better be authentic. Because once you raise their expectation, you can't let your staff show up untrained, unprepared, with dirty equipment that nobody is sanitizing. And then that marketing message actually works against you because you made them feel safe. And now they're noticing what you brought to their attention. So we have to deliver what we say. We need to make sure our staff are continuing to be trained. And, whether or not you arm them continually with masks until everybody claims to be vaccinated, that's your individual call. But whatever you do when you deliver, we can't talk a big talk and then not do it. That'll get us in more trouble than if we had said nothing.
That's true. I mean, that's like one of the dimensions of quality, setting expectations. And the last thing you want to do is set an expectation and not
Right.
need it.
Raggedy, dirty equipment, dirty shirts, employees who do not look clean and pristine will not send the message that we care about sanitizing and cleanliness. And so we do have to live what we sell. And so that delivery piece is just as important as the messaging, the imaging, the sales process, all the way to the delivery.
And I speak a lot to language, how important language is. And it is more important now than ever. For everyone that is using rags, just stop. Stop using
I
rags.
hate that word.
Yeah, you have to. Unless it's part of maybe your name or something, and
Right.
you're using it in a kitschy way, then I think you can get away
Tom,
with it.
remember there was a maid service years ago. I don't even know if they're around anymore, but they were called Rags with Hag or Hags with Rags. I hated that name.
They lost on both counts, didn't they?
Gosh, that was awful.
Oh my goodness. That was just such a horrible name. But it was Jeff Campbell that taught me that years ago from his book. When I read his book for the very first time, Speed Cleaning, back when I was doing the cleaning myself. And he said, don't call them rags. We're professionals. These are towels. And I've never forgotten that. And when I hear people say, yeah, we wash our rags, I'm like, oh, that's almost like a cuss word for me. They're towels. They're towels because we're professionals.
And all of those. So the rag towel controversy, right? If some people will say it doesn't matter, etc. That, and then also using some language that makes sense to the customers, cleaning and disinfecting. We need to say that now. In the past, we could just say, wiping, scrubbing, washing, whatever. But people want to hear disinfecting now. It means something different than it did in the past. People are educated. In the past, we could say sanitizing and people were like, oh, wow, that's really good. Now people know,
now they hear it.
Now they hear it.
Now they hear it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that language really matters too. And for not just for the owner or for the salesperson, but for the people in the field, those, which is speaking to the delivery system, your people that are going out into the homes, they need to be looking and sounding and acting like true professionals. Are you not going to be able to?
It's almost like a virtuous circle, though, because that ties back into the imaging and the training and the certification that goes along with it. They're not going to act professional and speak professional unless they've been trained to be professional. And once they are, you can leverage that branding and that certification. So, there's so many different synergies in this whole concept you're presenting here, Debbie.
Well, and to that point, it is important to us, and especially last year, it's not as bad now, but it is important to us that our employees feel a part of being kept safe. It's not just about keeping my customer safe so they don't cancel my service. It's also about keeping my employees safe. So as we certified them, as we trained them, as we taught them that we're going to be using these tools and these gloves and these disinfectants and how to use them, we wanted our employees to feel safe. I didn't want anybody to feel like they're risking their life by going to work. And of course, if they did, we would tell them, you shouldn't be here, right? This is not, no job is worth it. But we needed them to feel safe and be, feel comfortable. So all of these things make our professional cleaners better. It gives them that sense of pride that now they've been through certification. This company believes enough in me to invest in me. And now I'm very proud because I'm certified in this and that. It just elevates everything. And so back to your original point, Tom, it will end up being the best thing that ever happened to the cleaning industry. Maybe the worst thing that's ever happened, in my lifetime. But in terms of cleaning business, this has been very good for the business. It's elevated the need from luxury to a need, and it's also elevated the standards by which we all have to compete within anyway. We're already competing with these standards, and it's just hard, right? When a service is half price, who's just winging it. So it's raised the standards. It's changed the game, and I'm very grateful for it.
And Debbie, you mentioned earlier that, when things get really tough, if you take advantage and work really hard, you can make really good things happen, or you quit. And we've seen that happen on both sides of the ledger. All
Mhm.
three of us have worked for many years to professionalize the industry and help, grow the industry. And this is really working to the favor of the companies who buy into that, to strive for that, because the whole competitive forces things have changed as well. There aren't as many companies out there now as there was a year ago.
Exactly. Exactly. One of my local competitors came to us about 6 months ago and said, "Would you like to buy our customers?" And of
Mhm.
course, we said, "Let's talk." It was very sad. He'd been in business, I don't know, probably 10 years, had struggled the whole time. I had never met him. Actually had never heard of him, but he was a really nice guy. And the pandemic put him out of business forever. He was really sad. He was in his 60s, and I felt bad for them. Um, but there are a fewer cleaning companies out there, and there are fewer independent underground cleaners out there. Many of them are just staying home drawing those checks, right? So this is the time to scoop up the business, because the business is flooding in. And what goes up always comes down. So be ready with your marketing to really push on the gas, because the employees are going to have to go back to work. The market will slow down a little bit, and you need to be ready with your marketing.
Yeah.
And really, this is going to be better for everybody, not just for our businesses. I mean, it's going to be better for our industry. It's going to be better for our businesses, but it's going to be better for the consumer, because we are going to be more trained. Our employees are really going to know how to be safer. We are going to be providing a better service. This gets us a whole nother step closer to being exactly what we want to be, is professional industry.
And it's
Yeah.
better for the people who work in the industry, the cleaning professionals, because they're getting the training, they're getting the better pay. I mean, it's everybody's winning here.
Mhm. Tom, you're a numbers guy, so I wouldn't be surprised if you've already put a number to this, but I would love to know how much money consumers are saving by not driving an hour to downtown, wherever you live, for their corporate jobs, come and go, right? So many people now are working from home and may never go back. Many corporate offices, when the employees go back, they're only going back 2 or 3 days a week. I have a very dear friend who has worked in Dallas for years, fought that traffic both ways for years, spent all that money on the car repairs and the car gas, and now she works from home a certain percentage of the time. And then others are going to stay home permanently because they've negotiated it. It's like, hey, look, we proved to you we could get the job done from home. How much money has consumers saved that they used to just waste driving to work, and the extra time with the babysitter or the daycare that they don't spend now because they're not 2 hours on the road? That money is going somewhere. And if you're going to spend all your time working from home, living there, playing there, and sometimes schooling there, those people don't want to clean as well. So they're going to take some of that money, because now that's just new money in their bank, and put that towards cleaning. We need to scoop that up, and we need to even message that out.
Yeah, there's a lot of money tied up in just going to work, buying the right clothing, and if you got daycare. I was reading something that the doggy daycares have really taken a hit
Yeah.
over the last year because people are working from home and they can keep their
Yeah.
dog at home.
They're
So it's a
walking their own
win-lose
dogs.
thing. There's some people
The
who,
wardrobes,
yeah,
the jewelry. I can't tell you how much money I've saved not buying clothes from Nordstrom's and jewelry from Kendra Scott, because I sit around in a t-shirt all day. And they do too. That's extra income, discretionary income to spend on something you don't want to do anyway, which is clean your bathtub. So
Now, Debbie, I think that most of us are still spending the same amount of money from our waist up.
oh yeah, I got the makeup going, I got the earrings on, but down below it's sweatpants. My husband comes sometimes, walks in the door, and he sees me. I look like a freak because I have my professional jacket on, my professional blouse, and my jean cut off shorts.
Yeah. And I mean, I just wonder how much money Manolo Blahniks are making right now, right? They are not rolling in it like they were before. There's no
Who?
way.
Who?
Manolo Blahnik, the shoes.
Oh, I don't know about shoes.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
well,
I'm not a shoe I mean, I love shoes, but I don't know about those shoes, but it sounds like I need to know.
yeah. My daughter is a shoe person, and she spent so much money on shoes. She has not been spending that much
Exactly.
either. A lot of people.
Exactly. So before we go off track, I'm going to summarize really quick some things that I just kind of threw on my last slide to summarize how we have to pivot in these 4 ways around the new rules of marketing. Just remember, cleaning is for health. It's really not about a luxury or about a beautiful home anymore. I mean, it's still a nice thing, but it's not really what it's about anymore. Cleaning is a necessity, not a luxury. So people feel like they need it, not that they want it. People are working and schooling and playing from home. So cleaning is needed for their sanity. They don't want to also clean there too. It is less about check out our 5-star reviews because our quality is so good, and more about look at our certifications, our safety policies, our professional training. So just remember that. It's more about the tools and the disinfectants. It's not as much about how you fluff the pillows or how you vacuum the lines on the carpet. It's more about keeping their family safe, and it's less about keeping the planet safe, at least right now. I don't know when that's going to change. These subtle changes in marketing and in all of your marketing messaging, from emails to social media to sales over the phone, and however you connect with customers at networking events and so forth, these subtle changes in messaging and in marketing will make you stand out because your competitors don't know to do it. They don't know to pivot or change. And these are the new rules of marketing, and I don't think it's going to change for a while.
And if you step back and start thinking about all the different places that you can apply that, I'm thinking about, your Facebook page and your Google My Business listing, and, certainly your website and training your sales team. You could go on and on and on. It'd probably be a really worthwhile thing just to kind of step back and make a long list of all of the marketing channels that you have that you don't even think about that you could go back and update.
Mm-hmm. And coach and update your experts. Do not assume that they know this instinctively. Back early on during the pandemic, I saw some marketing messaging from one of our paid professionals. I was like, whoa, no, you need to pivot that message. It was about luxury and you deserve it. I'm like, that's not what people are feeling right now. So don't even assume the people you've hired to do this for you professionally will know to pivot. You need to coach them and maybe share this video with them and give them these tools and suggestions. They may not do it on their own.
Mm-hmm.
And I want people to not underestimate the value of those 5-star reviews, because they are important too. But
oh yeah,
it would be really good to push on the 5-star reviews, talking about your safety and certification and training, and remind people when they're giving you reviews that that's what you're looking for. Because if people are looking at they are going to look at your reviews. That hasn't changed, y'all. People are
still going to
look at your reviews. But what do they say now? We need them to be talking about safety and yeah.
That's an excellent point. And for those who are a part of Cleaning for a Reason, don't be shy about asking your cancer patients that you've just served with a free cleaning to go out on Google and post a review about how it made them feel to have a safe and clean home. And you can coach them just by using those words, and they will put into words how it made them feel after coming home from chemo, to know their house was sanitized. And so don't be shy about asking people to mention how the safety and the cleanliness of their home is affecting them right now.
Yeah. And for those of us who just do leave behinds for their clients, explaining how the review process works, giving them a couple of hints in terms of, the talking points of health and safety and certifications would be something worth considering as well.
And let's not forget, I know a lot of people won't like this idea, but in this new environment also, our customers want us, especially where I live in the Pacific Northwest, they want to know that my employees are being treated well. I'm sure that you guys are the same as I am. When everything shut down and our employees did not have as much work, how many of your customers were funneling money in, sending money anyway? Charge me for 6 months. I don't care. I'm not being clean, because they wanted the employees taken care of. So if
Exactly.
you've got some reviews, some 5-star reviews out there that are about how the employees are being taken care of, that's going to work in everybody's favor as well.
Mhm.
Exactly.
And cares about that.
Hmm. It's a great point. It's a great point.
Well, we are approaching the top of the hour here. Debbie, is there anything in particular that you would like to share with our audience? You mentioned cleaning for a reason. You got any other things going on that our audience would like to know about?
We always have things going on. For those who have been thinking about, especially in this post-pandemic environment we're in, for those who have been thinking, why didn't I get serious about being strategic with my business? I've been winging it. I'm suffering the pains of not really having a system. I'm still doing the cleaning, or I'm just helping all these people. I'm trying to manage clean. And for those who are really ready to take their business to a whole new level, Cleaning Business Fundamentals is the program I've been referencing. So they can go to cleaningbusinessfundamentals.com and apply for a strategy session to learn more about the program, the cost, the year-long mentorship, and how it all works. But we have a business model that's very unique to the industry, and we use the solo cleaning model for maintenance cleans, which is about 85% of the revenue coming in on a residential business. And in a post-pandemic world, it was like the best gift I ever could have given my business, was that I was able to talk about that model being the safest model to keep a home, COVID free. So anybody that's interested, go to cleaningbusinessfundamentals.com, reach out to us. We can book a strategy session and see if we're a good fit for each other. Always love that. And then one more plug for Cleaning for a Reason. We are in the midst of a fundraiser for Cleaning for a Reason. And I love anybody's help that would like to donate. Oh, thank you for pulling that up, Tom. Anybody that would love to donate to Cleaning for a Reason. We are already 20% of our goal for the year as an industry. And we're looking for donations to help Cleaning for a Reason. So you can go to, trying to remember what it was, I think it's DebbieSardone.com/charity. That's where you can go. DebbieSardone.com/charity. If you'd like to make a one-time donation, go find group number 11. That's my group. And since I'm competitive, if either of you ever want to donate, go find group 11. It's DebbieSardone.com/charity. Click on group 11, and that's my group. You can make a donation, small, big, it doesn't matter. We need your help. It's 100% tax deductible, nonprofit for cleaning homes for families battling cancer.
I'm efforting to find that. Okay.
Yeah, it's DebbieSardone.com/charity. And that's where, if you just scroll down to group 11, we don't have pictures there on purpose. It just, you scroll down, you got to pick group 11 because I have to win this contest.
Group 11. I'm in, Debbie. Group 11's the winner.
Okay,
Hey,
so
all right. Hey, I'd
this
like
in
to
chat.
recruit some helpers into my group. So, Liz, I'm sure you never have a dull moment in your life. If you ever get even remotely bored and want to help me, I'd recruit you into my group.
Okay, I'm so
You too,
bored.
Tom.
Nothing going on right now.
Yeah, I know you. I know you're not busy, right?
Who are in the other 10 groups?
Most of our coaches, the CBF certified coaches. So when you click on the groups, you'll see their names. So we've got 7 certified coaches. You guys know Derek Christian. He's now a certified CBF coach. He's one of our group leaders. And then we have a couple of other captains from our advanced pro group. And so we have 10 groups plus mine. All of them have committed to raising $10,000 each of the 10 groups. And so our goal is to raise $100,000 for Cleaning for a Reason. Many of you heard Cleaning for a Reason was really struggling, and we have to get our nonprofit viable. And so at my live event in April, we had 140 business owners raise their hand and say, I, as a single individual, will raise $1,000 for Cleaning for a Reason. So we formed 10 groups to try to get 10 people to follow through. And that's how we got to our 100,000 commitment. So we're doing pretty good.
Yeah,
It's pretty exciting.
that is good.
Yeah.
All right, we got Liz on here saying she's going to be back Cleaning for a Reason too.
Before.
Yay. Thank you, Liz. Thank you. And you guys can just share my link on your social media page or in your groups with your cleaning groups. You can just share it and say, hey, help Debbie meet her goal.
And I think Tom did post the link right here. So
Yeah,
thank you.
it just hit 6 Facebook pages and a couple of YouTube channels as we speak.
Thank you for doing that.
So we are at the top of the hour. We are done for the week. We are done for June. We are done for the first half of the year.
You realize this is the end of Q2?
yes,
Crazy, isn't it?
guys, third quarter starts this week. Don't forget Thursday, tomorrow.
Starts at midnight.
Yep. Well, we have a long holiday weekend to contemplate our next move. So I hope you guys have a wonderful holiday weekend. I'm so glad I got to be the guest for the last show of
Second
Q2.
quarter. Yeah.
Debbie, as always, you're awesome. This was
Thank you.
good. Much appreciate your help today.
Thank you. I love doing it.
Good
Thank
to
you.
see everybody. Talk to you
All
later.
right.
You
Thanks,
guys take
everybody.
care. We'll be back Monday,
care.
5 o'clock Eastern. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.